challenges that I overcome is when people see me when I'm training or doing other things. I was an able-bodied, so I was a boxer. From there, this incident came to me and I paralyzed my arm. And this changed my life.
Initially, we'd go out and we'd find that there was a lot of cultural stigma around people with disability. A lot of their families are still embarrassed. A lot of cultural expectation, well, this is a punishment for your family for something you might have done or a member of the family's done wrong.
Here in Vanuatu, the children born with an impairment grow up largely hidden away and removed from the life of the community and the village. Very few have access to school, and so they live their lives, as we call them, the hidden people.
They're hidden for a number of reasons. One is embarrassment. The other reason is they can't contribute. So if they can't contribute to digging the fields or finding food or, climbing the trees and doing all those things, they're not contributing to the family. So it makes it a very difficult life for them.
In my community, they see me like I can't do nothing. So my mother and my father, they don't let me to walk with my friends. They want me to stay with them, only them, because then they don't want that I will get accidents again or something like that.
If somebody don't go and talk to them, from there they don't have a chance to come and join us in Bara. I'll tell them to come and join us.
The challenge is getting them out of their initial home environment first and foremost into a community environment. With increased exposure becomes increased acceptance. And that's what we're working towards, just getting more exposure so that we can educate the communities on the worth of these individuals with impairment right across Pacifica. And we don't try and impose cultural expectations of what might be acceptable in Australia or New Zealand. This is each individual country being comfortable to share their information with us and us embracing what they bring to the table.
Nobody knows that I've joined this para-athlete team. I was doing it like secretly, doing it, training, coming, going, coming. When people see me, I feel embarrassed about myself. Because when they stare at me and they see me what I'm doing, but I keep on telling myself that I can do it.
In the Pacific, we all know it's surrounded by different cultures, and I believe without female athletes, there are some boundaries behind it in terms of their role inside the house, their role as women. So there's a bit of challenge with the culture, and we're trying our very best to see how can we work together with the culture in promoting the sports and creating that opportunity for our athletes, and not only female athletes, also male athletes.
Disability is a bad word, and disability is an inability. How can we overcome this? By having more awareness and inclusiveness through sports.
Tomorrow is gym session. After gym, some of our key values and roles is to see that we provide opportunities for para-athletes in the country, and also create that pathway for those who want to reach elite level of competition. But we also provide grassroots programs for those who just want to be part of sports and wellness as a whole.
For me, I'm a shot put thrower, and I've faced a lot of discouragement within my community. And to overcome this, I'll have to focus on my life and focus on my training.
My family, some of them, they look down on my disability. But when I break all that, I want to prove them that I can play as well as a normal person. My sports is shot put and traveling, and also badminton sometimes.
These kind of programs will help build their esteem and take away that stigma.
My only hope is to break the misconception in my community about persons living with disabilities and to inspire the young upcoming athletes, whether you're able or disabled, to achieve their goals.
We see power athletes, most people like known in the Pacific Island region, they see them as disadvantaged people. So when I got involved in that, I try to create a space where everyone feel welcome and happy to be in that space. And I started building from there since 2017. I did 5 years here with Papua New Guinea and 2 years in the Solomons as the performance manager. We would always want to promote inclusivity as one of the values, try to get the people living with disability as part of the environment and the community. My key achievement milestones would be seeing athletes compete at that stage and find their purpose through sports.
When you win a medal, it's like you'll be tears of joy, I'll say, tears of joy, you'll cry. And also you'll feel proud of your country, your tribesmen, your clansmen, your villages, your province, and also your family. When I win a medal, I feel like crying. I feel like I can do some things that other able people cannot do. After when I won the gold medal at Solomon Island, my villagers know that I was doing this team. Most of them, they support me by congratulating me, word of thanks, things like that.
Let's all rise for them.
Our goal has been to have athletes at a performance level that when they turn up, they look like athletes, they think like athletes, and they perform like athletes.
When you walk through the village, when you walk through the competition centers, you see there are more people who are like you. You feel more accepted. You feel like you're in an environment that people around you will accept you as who you are.
We want athletes. We have to find them, we have to coach them, we have to prepare them. These days, our athletes are ready to compete, and that's what we want. We're creating competitors.
For me as a coach and the athletes parade, we all have challenges. After training at 11, I go and have my job, work at the shop. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, come back here, finish for another session.
I was started working at 6 p.m. and then finish at 6 a.m. and then 7 o'clock I attend the training at Sinis and finish at 9:30. After training, I come back to my home and rest, sleeping, waiting for 5:30 and I go to work again.
Encourage them when they go back to their homes. They have to eat the right food at the right time and timing like that. Yeah. But they say sometimes financials, they need money to buy the right food to eat.
I would say nutrition has been one of the challenges for the athlete, but they try to eat well as much as possible, but we know that most of them, they come from families that can't afford proper meals for them.
Fruit and vegetables can be expensive, so we rely on them accessing environments where they can grow their own food and particularly vegetables. It's just raising the awareness. We do the best we can with what we've got and what they can afford.
Viva leave lo garden, go digging sanga potato can bagakai evening osim. Garam have time to osim no enslin. For him supporting me wala no matulo kain go osim no enting mamoy.
We haven't got any support from the federations. We have any support from the organizations, companies like that.
Athletes are unemployed. facing challenges coming to training venues. So these are some of the big challenges we face for our para-athletes.
I always attend the training, but I have no bus fare. I always walking. Started from my house down to the Sinis training venue.
Nothing happens without money. If you're in the islands and you've got to choose between buying a meal for the day or catching a bus to go training, you're probably going to choose to buy a meal.
Getting Paralympic athletes to access those facilities is very, very tough. So transportation every day, living allowances. So it sort of stacks up against Paralympic athletes when you just talk about preparations.
If I looked at what is the major issue, it's funding, obviously. Funding for local national Paralympic committees. They have very limited funding or no funding. They rely on grants from their governments, which can be very limited.
Disability sports with that use wheelchair. I mean, we've been told that a specialized wheelchair for wheelchair basketball is like 15,000 Fiji in one wheelchair, So that's very expensive for any sports.
The more expensive, the less likely we do it, because it's not just purchasing equipment, it's the maintenance as well. So we actually make strategic decisions around what's required, and a lot of it's based on access to resources and finances.
I'm the first para-athlete, the gold medalist for Solomon Island. I always attend the competition. I go attend the training, traveling country to country. And then after competition come back, they never look to us. They promise us things, and then they never do.
Hem gogo osemia osem no anything no malo for the help of kita lo hemia no anything no.
Because they are family people, so they need support from the federations and the people outside.
It's different amongst different islands, but over 20 years we've sort of evolved to a pretty good model now. We understand the importance of A, identifying athletes, B, identifying coaches, and C, identifying administrators who can support the direction of each program. As an example, Vanuatu really wasn't doing much at all. They got a really good chairman for their board. A lady called Margaret McFarlane came in and she selected a fantastic board that's done a lot of work in establishing programs and raising funds. And they are the country that's probably leading the way.
And our first step was to set up a framework of policy, processes and procedures, which sounded very strange. People were really pushing us to immediately start holding events, getting athletes overseas, but we said no. We'll get the institutional framework, build a corporate and government confidence, operate on a merit-based, transparent platform to select the best athletes that we could to go overseas. With that building of our corporate reputation, we have been able to attract funding, and we are regarded as punching above our weight. The Vanuatu Paralympic Committee has instituted an innovative program which we call Hub and Spoke. In each of the provincial capitals, we set up a central hub. We provide them with equipment and a head coach and train that coach. And then the spokes, small groups out in outlying villages, we give them a small startup equipment set and train their coaches.
And they run activities twice a week, and it's inclusive, inviting anyone with abilities or disabilities, it doesn't matter. So what we're trying to do there is to get them involved, get them organised to show that yes, they can participate, they can do something. So we try to use conversations, discussions and previous athletes. We'll get them to meet and talk with community members as well.
When they came first, they were very shy or very scary to do the training. And I was encouraging them, please don't shy or don't fear, but be encouraged to do what I'm telling you to do. And from there, they have confidence.
is Fina. My discipline sport, I do running. I ran 15, 100, and 200. Yes, I was scared if I was bad at it or I was not good at training. That's why I'm scared. They train me well, and then they keep saying good message to me that you don't stop running, just keep on running, and things. I feel happy about that.
Then once every 3 months, the coach and the athletes come into the central hub. They have a competition. We deliver further training to the coach and the athletes, and we have records of their times and distances that they throw. And that enables us then to have merit-based selection processes.
So our job is not just because you've got a disability you get to go to overseas, is to identify the talent that we support. We now get a group of athletes and coaches that understand the space that we're trying to work in at a higher level than what we used to. So I think we're getting more outcomes towards performance of athletes and coaches than we used to get.
We have our athletes from a very tiny country winning medals overseas quite frequently. However, to me, that is not the indicator of our success. It's how many provinces we now have with regular training 2 to 3 times a week, with coaches, bringing our people living with a disability out of the hidden places and participating in community life for healthier lifestyles, community acceptance, and for their own personal self-esteem. The medals are nice, but to go out into a village and see these people coming out and laughing, being accepted, having fun, to me, that's what being involved with the Paralympic Committee is all about.
Yahilu Yamawagil Chaffling Shot Put Discus Long Jump Mile 100 meter 200 meter 50 meter Ina Chaffling Shot Put Yamai train Donaranga and Masanan. Tumangina to Amdonio. Yolgi Pugana. Imulgi Masakawagil Petumon Land Armina. Kawaya very betonavin. Mamma Narut Narut. I'll play with the book. Manugua, can you menai fila, Mamos money? Can you miss Stamos Tamnapen? I'm a book of Friam. Mama Pulut, Amelaima, Amaikaima, Mama Pulut, Mamma Unganut, Otipna Benamle Bilin, Samik Namata Gatan money land, Sampan Jamata Gatan money, Corona Route, Angamashitula, Girangi Antonio.
The changes that we've seen in culturally accepting parasport has been one of the really pleasing things. We're not chasing medals, but we are actually changing lives because of their self-worth and acceptance within community.
If some of our athletes coming from a remote area and going out into the world and to compete, despite winning anything, just by leaving that remote area, that's an achievement by itself.
My name is Ken Kao. I'm from Tan Island. Tafia province. Na all community blooming lo nating pa sometime ul look me bali oli happy lomi. Oli some anaya mistalo fila me I think Elgadol Stalo Island sometime ul look me no mo lo Facebook be I think by me ko bali just look me oli. Mi out besal 6 months le mi kam mi inter mouse plan ba. Mami blomi, mi masistawnya Monique. Mami wife blomi, Mari. Begini blomi, Juliet. I think lo community where all Catholic Samolikat athlete or all Catholic disability. I think bol sa fe stalo takbles lukata all Catholic lo olikam out alo just local kita of oli experience olikam bo taluanem pa sa experience onem we ko experience lo.
And have you showed your family your medal yet?
Yes. Emma Kolia.
In the communities, parents, families, they're supporting them in what they are doing. Giving them courage so that they can come in the training. They support them in finance, supporting them in like food and other things also.
House blomium, yeah. By Miss Nalvamisho or
Yes, mi klatuma se klat from Gian se kastable come back mi klat. Yes, al beginning ni al klat se tati blal ketal sta pa ti camp sta kim small man blal ketal klat se tati blal ketal stable lista camp sta lo katemihla.
The athlete or the para is going to travel sometime. That's a big opportunity from their family. And the family was appreciating them for that. And families happy in the village. Everybody are excited on what Ken is doing in other companies.
Mr. What nothing say about one day when we travel out all country. I think through lo barasport now after me look all our country.
Myself as a coach, I feel very excited on what Ken Kohu is performing in other countries.
The pleasing thing about what we've been able to do over many years now is to see the acceptance of what's happening internally. So the cultural acceptance of athletes that are now being able to be employed, to go and get part-time jobs, to become the primary breadwinner for the family.
I've come across a lot of athletes where they found sport has really had an impact in them. They are coming out here and competing and getting that exposure and confidence, and then they go back to their community and they have been seen as a role model, and that's something where it makes me happy, and it's like a milestone for everyone that we are breaking all these barriers.
Ilyas Delana, he was a Fiji high jumper. He went to London 212, he won the gold medal. He was a farmer. He came home, stood for Parliament. He was elected as the Junior Sports Minister and had an incredible career in that position. We had an athlete from Vanuatu, Friana. She came to the Commonwealth Games in 2018 and won the bronze medal in javelin. And she's offered a job by the Bread Bank, so she was offered full-time employment, was in the media, was a rising, just a star, a superstar. And the story then follows that in the village or in the area that she grew up and went to school at, a mother turns up at the local school to the principal and says, oh, I saw what Friana did. Does that now mean my daughter, who has cerebral palsy, can now come to school? And that was the power. So that's the difference that we're trying to make.
I hope that maybe now they start to realize that disability people too, they can do whatever able-bodied should do.
You can have persons with disabilities participate at the grassroots level or at the international if you have the passion and the belief. I pray that this journey will help us work harder in terms of creating opportunity for persons with disabilities, not only in sports, across the board. Fiji.
We want to see the world. We want to participate, to say show other people that we can do it.
So they can go well above and beyond what I think even we can hope for. So yeah, I think like I said, the sky's the limit.
Power people are immortals. They can do whatever they want to do, and they can achieve whatever they want.
It's the hardest of all questions.
What will you do with the mug if you win, Tabitha?
But for the champs,
Pina colada.
dreams can come true.
I'll use it on road trips. Almost there, darling. Drain me oil into it. As a peg bucket. So practical.
It'll replace our family pet.
Come on, boy.
I'll put it on a shelf and maybe look at it from time to time as a reminder of.
Hard Quiz returns January 29 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
To find news you can trust, go straight to the source. Download the ABC News app or visit the ABC News website. Stay in the know with stories from your neighbourhood around the country and overseas. Bulletins, programs, breaking news and analysis, all the latest, all verified, all the time. News that matters to you straight from the source. Head to news.abc.net.au or download the ABC News app.
Today, the Israeli government approves a ceasefire and hostage deal with Hamas set to begin tomorrow. Tens of thousands are still without power in New South Wales as wild weather hits the state. TikTok says it will be forced to go dark in the US on Sunday unless the Biden administration steps in before a ban takes effect. And Australia's last hope in the tennis, Alex de Minaur, down a set in his third round clash in Melbourne. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ruby Cornish. The Israeli government has approved the ceasefire and hostage deal in Gaza, which is due to come into effect from Monday morning Australia time. The full Israeli cabinet discussed the proposal during a marathon meeting in Jerusalem, which ran early into this morning. The green light means a 6-week ceasefire between Israel and Hamas can begin on Sunday. The gradual release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners will follow. The ABC's Global Affairs editor, John Lyons, reports.
Final preparations are underway here in Jerusalem and in the Gaza Strip for the beginning of the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon Jerusalem time, which is 1 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, is expected to be stage 1 of the ceasefire process. Fighting will stop and 3 Israeli hostages currently held in Gaza, 3 women, will be handed to the Red Cross, probably on the border with Egypt, and then taken back into Israel, where they're likely to be flown by an Israeli army helicopter to an army base in the Negev where they'll undergo a very extensive medical check, then to a larger hospital in Israel where they'll stay for some days and be reunited with their families. On the Palestinian side, in exchange for those 3 hostages, are expected to be released 90